I'm Katie Albright. I'm the Executive Director of the San Francisco Child Abuse Prevention Center. The San Francisco Child Abuse Prevention Center has been providing services in our community for about 38 years. We do our work in 3 different ways. We provide services directly to families and children in our community. We do that round the clock, 24/7, with our 24-hour phone line, through our counseling and support services right there on Waller Street. We also provide significant community education, working in our public schools, and we also work with partnerships to create a strong safety net so that children in our community can be safe and families can be protected.
I'm Malcolm Gaines, and I'm the Clinical Director at the San Francisco Child Abuse Prevention Center. The commitment of the people who work at SFCAPC is really apparent to everyone who comes there and everybody who works there. Everyone from the program support staff who are providing administrative support and working directly with families who come in to introduce them to the center, to intern therapists who are new mental health professionals getting trained, to people who are seasoned clinicians.
So I came to the organization about 4.5 years ago, and one of the first things that we really looked at was what our management structure should look like and all the structures of all the programs.
A really intense period of growth was beginning, and it's still going on actually at the organization, and we realized that we need to make sure that we had the management structure in place to support that growth and facilitate it, on an ongoing basis.
And when we looked at it, we realized that we were all in the boat, rowing in the same direction, but we weren't necessarily rowing at the same time and doing the work. What we did was a pretty significant restructuring in the organization, where we restructured it to a much smaller management team and really began focusing on what managers and leaders in the organization needed to do in order to carry our work forward.
About 1.5 years ago, we were at the point where we had a newly constituted senior management team. We all recognized together that we needed enough support to make sure that we could gel, become a team, have some tools in order to do that, so that we could begin to know ourselves better as leaders and each other better as leaders, so that we could really facilitate the growth of the organization.
And that's really when Sarita came in, to think with us about how we could develop as a team to move our work forward.
So when I first arrived at the center, I could see an organization that had outgrown itself in a lot of ways. It started out as a grassroots organization with a passion and mission towards helping children. And I think what it's come into is a result of decades of hard work from people who are really forming an allegiance with parents and the community to make children's lives better. And walking into that building, I felt it. I felt the mission, I felt the dedication, I felt the loyalty, but then I also saw, wow, these people are really growing at an incredibly rapid pace, and they need someone to take a step back and take a look at how do you keep up with your rapid growth and attend to the needs of your original mission while recognizing that some of those needs may have changed over the years. Hi, I'm Sarita Bakuni. I am a psychologist in Chicago. I do a lot of work around leadership development with executives, performance management. I really believe in people's ability to take an insight and use it to change their behavior. And when they see the effects of this and the impact that changes can make, then they start to realize that they have a different choice. When there's change in any organization, you've got different levels of resistance and attachment to it, and that's really what I started looking at first.
We had been an organization that actually had gone through a significant amount of leadership transition, and so it was important to really look at the strengths of what we do and think about how we can strategically align our work so that we could provide the best outcomes for our families.
And so that's really, I think, what I was able to do as an outsider, as a consultant for CPP, coming in and saying, what's the current state of affairs? What's the backstory? Where have you come from to this place where you are now? And where do you want to go? What do you want the vision for your organization to be? How do you get the people involved? And so that's really how we started. Took a look at the executive management team, and we used a number of assessments. We started with the Myers-Briggs Step 2, and that really gave us an overview and a paradigm that we had a language to talk about type and preference.
This is work that we had, on an individual basis, had done perhaps either through another job that we may have had or a clinical requirement that we may have had, but as a team we hadn't really had that opportunity to do it. And we also didn't understand as a team how our own personality types would really impact our leadership style.
Knowing this information facilitates conversations that might be hard to get into otherwise, like you might be wondering why somebody on the management team did something a certain way, and it's hard to say, well, why did you do it like that? But this gives us a context for saying, oh, right, you're a more extroverted person, so you're going to do it this way, and I understand that.
So once we learn the individual stories of people's styles and preferences, how they made decisions, their project management style, how they planned around strategy and management, how they took details into effect, and how they communicated with other people, once we learn that individual story, we could apply it to the broader organization. We all know that for management, things trickle down in the organization, and that's where we really started to see the impact.
Sarita, in this fantastic, very thoughtful, compassionate way, both showed us our strengths in our work, as well as some areas of improvement, and also how our own leadership styles really impact not only the team, and that's where her focus was, our leadership team, but also with respect to the entire organization.
So the second instrument we used was the CPI 260.
We really wanted to take a look at leadership competencies.
It was a fantastic assessment because it really allowed us on an individual basis as well as a team to think about what our competencies are and also what our blind spots are.
And right out of the gate, I got really excited because when we started working with this team, I saw that each person on the team had tremendous talent.
The value of it for me really was learning my own individual strengths and competencies as a leader. And I had never really thought about myself as a leader in that particular way before, so it helped to kind of lay out in a really concrete, objective fashion the different aspects of leadership and where my strengths and areas for growth might be.
Personally, it was fantastic to really know that there were some areas of critical focus that I needed to work on, and since then have been really working on. As a team, it was a fantastic approach because we were able to really, in some ways, pat ourselves on the back to say we're a great team and we have the capacity and skills and competencies to move this forward. It also allowed us as a team to figure out where our blind spots are and where are some of the areas of opportunity that we really need to focus. You know, our work is hard. We have a responsibility in the community to protect kids and families in crisis and stop child abuse. We're only going to do that if we really have a top-notch team to carry us forward in our mission. What the CPI 260 assessment allowed us to do is really identify what our strengths are and be able to leverage and build on those strengths so that we can carry on for our mission in the community.
So after we had the experience of working with Sarita doing the MBTI and the CPI 260, she came back to us and we did the TKI instrument, which is a measure of conflict style.
And the TKI really helped to look at what was the cost for individuals and the organization in terms of not addressing the tensions and the conflict that were existing on the management team.
Every organization is going to have conflict. One of the things we noticed after we took the assessment and working with Sarita is that we were more on the avoidance side, but as a group we really wanted to be on the collaboration side. We are working with families and children in crisis every day, and what we didn't want to do is bring that same crisis to our colleagues and same conflict to our colleagues.
Everyone was coming from a place of integrity and kindness. I think when you work in an environment where there is trauma and loss every day, you try to do your best to help people feel comfortable. And sometimes to the degree where constructive criticism was difficult.
How that manifested itself is that we were avoiding really tough issues. Having the TKI assessment be able to show us right there on paper how we were manifesting ourselves was valuable, and Sarita really helped to work with us not just on what was going on with our group, but where we wanted as a team to be able to go. We're very excited because since that time we've taken that assessment, we've really shown some fantastic collaborative results, and we're very, very excited about moving that work forward.
So the fourth instrument that we used was the PHIRB, which focuses on interpersonal needs.
Part of the benefit of using the PHIRB in this case was it really gets at the core of what do people need at the most basic level. Where do you go to first with people?
It showed us on an individual basis where our needs were, and we all came out on a very different spectrum. And so you go in with assumptions that everyone is exactly like you are, and so when you have a particular need, you think your colleague is going to have that same need. What that assessment allowed us to really think about is that we all have very, very different needs around communication, around collaboration, around many, many factors.
If somebody on the team approaches something in a way that you don't understand, you don't take it personally when you know that, okay, this is just a style issue.
The PHIRB assessment allowed us to really understand what people need in order to make decisions, and it was a fantastic assessment and a fantastic tool for us to move some very difficult conversations forward.
What the assessments allow us to do is take a look at the data, analyze the information that it's giving us, and then put that together and integrate it with the real-life processes and things that are necessary for the team to move forward. And that's really how we use the information from the assessments, was to say, here's where your talents are, here's what your styles are. Let's use that to understand how to create some synergy so we can really make things happen on this team.
In my job, overseeing the direct services that are provided to families at the center, I have a partner who's the Director of Children and Family Services, and we really work together as a team, as a pair, to run this part of the organization. And I would say that not only did the work with Sarita enhance the whole team, but it enhanced my relationship with my coworker. He and I really have to communicate closely, partner really closely together to oversee and support the work we're doing, and we're definitely able to do that better as a pair than we were before. I recommended Sarita and CPP to another organization, and my experience really did lead me to want to make sure that other people had access to CPP as a resource.
There are happy faces, very excited about where we are going as an organization throughout every level of the organization. And if I have to sort of look at one point of success, I would say that is a point of success. Seeing frontline staff who really are working with families on a daily basis be happy about structural changes that are being made at senior level management, that is a vote of confidence, and that is an indicator of success, and it really wouldn't have happened as smoothly as it has without Sarita helping us. I've been in the nonprofit arena for several years, and one of the things I know that nonprofits do is we really work to carry out our mission. But one of the things that we don't always have the opportunity to do is be able to work with experts in the field to really change and transform how our organization works. We have been so tremendously lucky to be able to work with CPP. With CPP, we've been able to be smarter about our organizations. CPP gets our mission, they get what we need to do to carry it out, and they really are helping us in a very thoughtful, deep way to ensure that we have the best structure, the best staffing, the best management team to move our work forward. We're thrilled to be working with CPP, and we certainly wouldn't be here without their help.
One of the things that CPP is really, really committed to, from an organizational standpoint, from an individual standpoint, is really to help people be better. And that's what the center was ready for, and that's what the executive management team was ready for. They already were starting with such a strong foundation of passion and commitment and excellence. They wanted to elevate that to another level, and they knew they could be better, and they were ready to be better.